This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, we've packed a number of shows together to give you some highlights. I know you're going to enjoy the show. Thank you for being with us today. Vanessa, welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to diving into your expertise. Man, you are making it happen, and there's some specific ways, some skills that you have that I feel we're all going to need in the near future, but we don't have yet, but you do. So I'm looking forward to diving in. But first, before we do that, give the listeners a little more about you, the companies that you're working through, building, and what your focus is.
Well, thank you so much for having me in your podcast. And from that introduction, I'm so excited to be here and so grateful, really. Um, so I am the founder of five seven-figure companies. This is my fifth company. It's a real estate investment firm that is going to focus on technology and innovation. So we are disrupting, or I would say revolutionizing real estate. Okay. So as you can hear, English is not my first language because I was born in Venezuela. Okay. And that's when I had my first company. It was marketing company when we had up to 2,500 employees. It was really big. It grows really fast. And then we expand that marketing company to Panama City. Okay. We were looking for ways to diversify the income of the company, mostly because of inflation in my country. So we opened the second company in Panama. We had another company as well, trade show company. And then when I moved here to the US about more than a decade ago, I opened production and publishing company with my husband. Okay. And after that, we decided that it was better that he will stay in managing that company and we'll stay married, stay in that way. Okay. And I started focusing real estate. That was about 5 years ago. And so this is my fifth company. Okay. We have five kids together. Okay. So we're going to keep it at five.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the backstory. I think it's interesting to think about the business background, right? Even up to 2,500 employees, I think you said
Mhm.
that's a lot. That's no small feat. And so many lessons learned, right? Through that kind of growth to move forward into numerous businesses now, obviously, and successfully. But let's jump in. I know you have a background in marketing, no doubt, the production side, all those things. But I don't want to waste any time. I want us to just jump right in because I want us to have the time for you to elaborate on this new thing. We all know, we've all heard of AI, right? Artificial intelligence. But I want you to break that down pretty simple at first, right? Well, what is that? What are we using? What are we thinking about? And I want us to jump into some real case scenarios, right? How you're using this, how the listeners can use this every day. We're going to talk about investors versus operators, and there may be benefits, right, to both sides that Vanessa is going to help us with today. But first, very simple terms. What is AI? Is this something that we should all be scared of? Is this something that is going to be gone in a month? I doubt it, but just fill us in a little bit. Maybe some of the listeners are brand new to AI, right, or haven't used it because they're put their toe in that water yet.
Wow, so many questions. I will have to use my AI to break all this down with me for me. But let me start saying that even though I come from a background of also marketing and publishing and production, because those were my companies before. Before being a marketing person, I am a business person. Okay? I am an innovator and I am a visionary. So doing business for me is what I like and what I love. Being an entrepreneur is what I love. And I believe that innovation is the key for creating a successful business and a business that is a long term business. So every business that I have in three different countries has just one thing in common. It's like we're always looking to reinvent the wheel. Does that make sense? So everybody says, don't reinvent the wheel. We're doing always the opposite. We're always thinking how we can do things different. Now, for 20 years, okay, my first company, it was 20 something years ago. I was 22 years old at that time. Okay. And we have 17 offices. But when I moved to Panama, it was in 2006 and it was the breakthrough of social media. And it was very interesting because we took advantage of that in order to create and recreate our marketing company into a digital marketing company. So we were one of the visionaries, okay, and leaders into digital marketing in that country. I personally opened a Twitter account of Martinelli, which was the president, is the former president of Panama, and of the first lady. Okay. So I met many people in the industry, but the thing is that innovation is really important in any of the companies that I have created. So for 20 years, I haven't seen something as important as AI today. And I'm very excited because as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, this is for me like an opportunity that nobody will ever have. At least you will be in, I don't know, by the time that electricity was discovered. For me, this is a breakthrough. This is a disruption as big as the creation of electricity or fire, much bigger than internet, okay, and much bigger than social media itself. Okay. So what is artificial intelligence in order to answer your question? Artificial intelligence is the field of computer science, okay, that creates machines capable of intelligent behavior. Meaning, when computer are programmed to be really smart and do things that normally only humans can do. But artificial intelligence has been here years and years, maybe 50 years. So why is that right now in 2023 is so important and everybody's talking about artificial intelligence? That's because of ChatGPT. Because with ChatGPT, and if you haven't heard about ChatGPT, ChatGPT is a large language model. So with ChatGPT, everybody realized and saw that this is the time when machines can think, act, respond like a human. 2023 is not going to be remembered. It's not going to be remembered as the year of inflation or as the year of bridge loans or as the year of people losing their properties to foreclosure. It's going to be remembered as the year that humanity realized that machines can think and do everything better than humans can do. And ChatGPT gave us that opening to our eyes, okay, that holy cow, this is real. This is happening. Okay. So this large language model, okay, it has created the platform for everybody to have access to these supercomputers. Okay. And now something that huge corporations knew already, like Google knows and has been working on artificial intelligence for years, right? Facebook uses artificial intelligence for everything. That's how if you Google a specific brand of shoe, then everything that you see in your feed is about shoes, right? But the difference right now is that ChatGPT has created this technology when everybody is available to access this super brain, okay, that thinks 100,000 times faster than our brain. Just to give you an idea, I'm going to stop after this. ChatGPT has 100, I think ChatGPT 3.5 have 175 billion parameters, and ChatGPT 4 has more than 100 trillion parameters. That's almost the same amount of neurons that we have in our brain. The only difference is that ChatGPT can respond and think 100,000 times faster than a human brain.
The growth is just, it's like we can't even comprehend it almost.
Nobody can. And
This
if you hear the CEO of Google, he was actually asked if he comprehends this. And his answer was, let me tell you something, or let me put it this way. I still don't comprehend human brain. Nobody knows. Like they are trying, but it's still as complicated as the human brain. Now, the interesting thing is that these machines are deep learning, meaning they are auto learning. Okay. And these machines and these supercomputers does not eat, they don't sleep, they don't ask for a salary. Okay. They're always learning all the time. So now that you have access to this technology, now you can think how this is going to affect your business as an entrepreneur, as an employee, as a real estate investor, as a real estate syndicator. How is that affecting your business? Should you be scared of this? Everybody's going to be scared, of course, because we don't know. I mean, the limit is our
Change, right?
imagination. It is change. And think about this. When electricity was discovered, people had fear, right? When the fire was discovered, people had fear. Like the biggest breakthroughs and revolutions in history, people had fear and has their concerns. When social media came live, people had their fears too. Internet, it was the same, right? But the internet is here and everybody uses it every day. Okay? It's just part of your life. So AI and all these chatbots are going to be part of your life in 5 years. And I always say something, I always say this, and is that I strongly believe that businesses, okay, that does not fully utilize AI and they don't understand AI and they don't integrate AI with their businesses, they're going to be out of business in 5 years. They're not going to be able to compete with anybody else. And that includes real estate investors, real estate syndicators, real estate operators. That includes clinics, doctors, lawyers, and every industry that you can imagine.
That's a great breakdown. I just think it's helpful for many who haven't heard of AI to think through what you just talked about, and how fast the machine learning, right? You talked about the deep learning and how that works and how it's really just compounding, right? I mean, it's just growing so fast. I do not know much about it. I've used it a little bit, but I can see how the people who use it and integrate it are going to be further ahead and faster, right? No doubt. And I'm not sure the all the implications of that just yet, right? Nobody is. But you mentioned investors and operators, syndicators, and speak through some of the like specific uses. Bring it down home for us a little bit. And I think a lot of people probably haven't thought about AI being used in Google and Facebook, even like you're talking about. I know everybody thinks about the ads popping up and whatnot, but I bet they haven't thought about it being around that long, right? And now this chat GBT thing comes out and it's like, oh, wait a minute, what is this new thing? And so I think it's interesting to think, okay, well, this has been around a long time. It's just not been something that's just been like open to the public, this accessible, right? So give some specific uses, though, use cases for investors. Maybe first, let's talk about passive investors. What are some ways that you can see them using AI benefiting from that?
Well, there are different type of AIs and there are different that
Sure.
are available right now. There is actually a website that I recommend that everybody checks. The name is Futurepedia AO. Okay. IO, futurepedia.io. And it's going to show you all the AIs that are coming every day into market. Now, OpenAI and ChatGPT is the lead on these chatbot same with Google, that also after Google saw ChatGPT, they launched Barb, okay, as well. I don't think it's as good as ahead of ChatGPT at all, okay, but you can try Barb. And the difference between those two is like Barb is connected to the internet, okay, when ChatGPT is always only trained with data until September 2022, 2021, right? Now, so those two are very important because if you are a passive investor, right, probably you have a job, you have research to do, you can do whatever you can imagine with Chat GPT. As far as you talk to this chat bot as a human, this may sound crazy to you, but everything is about the prompt. Okay. So when you're saying, well, what the prompt is like, what is the right question? You ask the right question, you get the right answer. So if you want to do, for example, market research, you say you have a company and you want to do market research, or you want to start strategize and you want to brainstorm with your team, okay, you have now an AI assistant, okay, that can also brainstorm with you. You can create social media calendars. You can create social media marketing strategy. You can create a full strategy for your company, for your new, I don't know, your new venture that you have. But everything is about the prompt and asking the right questions. So you need to tell this chatbot who you are, what is the goal, what do you want for the AI, okay, and who is that you are targeting because you can personalize all this. Okay, this is a super brain. This is a supercomputer machine. So the machine is going to understand that if I'm talking to a lawyer and my target are lawyers, it's a different conversation that if I'm talking to a 10 years old or if I'm talking to a teenager. So it can tailor all the information based on the target. Okay. And this is huge for us, for anybody that is into entrepreneurship as well. Imagine how much money you paid before to a company like my company is as marketing. Okay. You pay thousands of dollars to create our consulting, thousands of dollars on consulting to create marketing plans, strategize based on the people. And then you will go back and forth on this. See if you approve it or not. You can create all this right now in ChatGPT in an hour, in 2, in 3 hours instead of weeks of work. Okay. You can create ebooks. You can create a book as well. What is the quality of that book? Well, that depends on you as well. Okay. It can be a crappy book. It can be a really good book. But that also depends of the prompts and how much you're putting into that. So those are some specific examples that you can get with BAR or with ChatGPT. Now, if you are a passive investor, there is an AI that I really like, and there are a few similar than this. It's called Ask Your PDF. So you're going to plug there in this AI, you're going to plug your PPM, okay? And in seconds, it's going to read and analyze that PPM, and it's going to give you a summary of what the PPM says. And it's going to tell you what questions you should ask because this AI understands exactly what a PPM is, what a syndication is, and what are the risks of real estate. And it's not only reading that, it's going to give you suggestions. These are the questions that you can ask about this document. Now, you can go back and ask those questions, and it's going to give you the answer based on that document. You can ask, show me on what page I can read about that, and it's going to tell you the page. So those 100 documents that we have that nobody wants to read because nobody understands, there is an AI for that. What do you think about that?
That's incredible. That alone would be so valuable for us by itself. Yeah, I mean, it can be 120 pages, and man, who wants to read that, right? And we should, and we read a lot of them, spend a lot of time, right? I think, okay, is this done right? Is this said right? Where is that thing, right? And you may spend 20 minutes looking for that little paragraph in PPM that you're searching for those few words, right?
What was interesting for me, I took one of my PPMs from 3 years ago in this program, and it was telling me the risk that I will have if I invest in this company. Okay. And it showed this the same risk that you can talk with your investors, like real estate is not, there are no promises return, okay, or blah, blah, blah. One of the things that the only thing is not the only thing that I thought it was not really accurate is that the program says that this company does not have any track record. So it was interesting because when you have a PPM, you have a new company for each of your properties, right? Okay. So the name of my company, okay, it was not in that PPM. Venus Partners, it was not in that PPM. Okay. So the only name that it was in the PPM was the name that we're using to hold that property, but it's a new property. I was very impressed of how the AI knew that company didn't have track record. I still don't know the answer of that. So far do you think we are of having managers in our properties that are AI?
Yeah, very soon. That's so impressive. I think some of this is so like hard to take in for most people, right? Like you can't even imagine that there's a machine that can comprehend all these things, right? Even you talking about asking the questions correctly, I think it's so crucial, right? Even in a conversation like this, well, depending on the question you ask, right, is it determines the answer often, right? Most more times than not that you get. And you talking about, well, tell them if you're an attorney or not. Tell them who, who your investors are, or like that's so I can understand why we need training, right? Why we need to be trained on how to utilize this machine, really. I feel like it's kind of like you're setting somebody in a or let's say you're setting a 10-year-old in a space shuttle, right? Like it's like, oh, what do we do? There's so many buttons and so many things to learn, and you can't almost comprehend all the buttons yet.
Well, what I say to people, just not to make you and your audience care about this, okay? It's like talking about, like you're talking to a human. So if you have an assistant and you need your assistant to book a flight, what do you say? Book me a flight? No, you give details. Okay, your assistant know who you are, and your assistant knows that my name is Vanessa. I'm going to tell her, listen, I need a flight, and I need to go to this place. I'm going to go to Orlando, and I'm going to travel with my kids. I'm going to Disneyland. I also need you to book me a hotel. I'm going this day to these days. And by the way, I like to fly in this airline. Please don't give me another airline. And then I like to sit in the aisle, not in the hall. So I give details to my assistant. Otherwise, she's going to come back with something that I don't like. It's the same way that you deal with this machine. If you tell it exactly what you need, it's going to give you good answers. And this is mind blowing. But yesterday, 2 days ago, I got access to another version of ChatGPT when you has access to plugins. And the long story short, just something that you can use anytime if you use those plugins, okay, you can actually do this reading of the PDF that I was telling you that you can do with Azure PDF. You can also do something very interesting. You can ask ChatGPT to create a meal plan for you, okay, depending on the specific needs that you have, the specific allergies that you have. Ask them to create a meal plan. Ask ChatGPT to tell you the list of the restaurants that can actually provide that type of meals for you. Ask ChatGPT to create a list of all the ingredients that you need to create all that meal, and then ask it to put it in the cart for you. And then you just click, and then you go to their website. It could be Instacart, and then you have all the ingredients there that you need for all that meal plan that you created. You can do the same with flies and all. So at the end, you have created, and what we have right now is an AI assistant to everybody, to everybody. So if you have read this book, The Who Not How,
That's right. Got it
well,
right here. Yeah.
well, AI is your who. AI is the ultimate who for everybody right now. If you are not leveraging in AI everything that you do, you're gonna spend the same amount of time, okay, and you are not gonna have the same efficiencies as any other person that they
Well,
are.
Vanessa, grateful for your time and really sharing your expertise and helping all of us kind of get on the bandwagon here of AI. I feel like so many of us are way behind already, right, on learning what this could do for our businesses. And so just thank you for just really breaking it down very simple in the beginning, but then even going into some very specific ways for our investors and us as operators, how, the ways we could really benefit, from these platforms. Thank you so much for your time. How can the listeners get in touch with you and learn more about you?
Of course, thank you for asking. Well, if you go to my website, it's venuspartners.com. I also have, and I invite you to download this ebook that I have about AI and entrepreneurship. I think I have a lot of AI listed in that document that you can check, review, see what is important for you, and please just play with what you think is going to help you in your business and in your life, because this is overwhelmed. And then you can spend so much time learning about this and so much time playing with this. I can even tell you that then you lose focus. So my business is real estate. It's not AI. I just love technology and I love innovation. So I spent some time learning about this and trying to catch up with what is new and what is applicable to my business. But please go and download that ebook. Okay. And just remember as well that this can be a shiny object. Okay. So use whatever is going to help you in your business and in your life. So my website is venuspartners.com. And you can also sign up for our newsletter as well. Okay. I talk about AI just in applications for real estate sometimes. So if you want to catch up with that, just sign up for our newsletter. And remember that AI, and I say that AI is going to bring some of our biggest freedoms to life. AI is going to help us to create financial freedom, time freedom, and geographical freedom. So I invite you to get involved into AI and witness what your business can do and how you can thrive, okay, in ways that maybe you will never imagine.
Thank you for being with us again today. I hope that you have learned a lot from the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you're telling your friends about the Real Estate Syndication Show and how they can also build wealth in real estate. You can also go to lifebridgecapital.com and start investing today.